happens next is my favorite part.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been one detail missing in the early episodes of From Season 4 so far, and that is the creatures that once kept the entire town scared shitless by even the thought of looking out the window at night. This season, it seems like our characters are more invested in figuring out an escape by truly understanding the mysteries of this hellhole, which has led the monsters to take a step away from the limelight. Plus, the man in yellow's arrival has certainly taken away most of the focus, especially after the show led us to believe that he may be one of the clearest faces of the larger force controlling the cyclical nightmare that is Fromville.
This is when they tear themselves apart.
Throughout the show, From established a few essential ground rules for the story, where the most important ones are that the monsters only come out at night and that the people remain safe as long as they're inside an enclosed space with a talisman hanging by their doorway. But what if these rules are nothing but a hoax? What if the creatures can actually walk under the sun and choose not to, just so the residents have a safety blanket or a false sense of security until it all ends in a whiff? More importantly, what if the real escape attempt has to happen during the night? Well, I certainly have endless questions, so without wasting another moment, let's discuss an important theory on how the townspeople can get out of Fromville. Because the Fromville crash out has been very real, and at this point we're all feeling like Jade from Season 3, trying not to lose his final brain cell while trying to figure out what the hell Ankugi is, I'm gonna get straight to the point. I doubt the creatures or the monsters in From are automatically destroyed by daylight, because when Boyd killed the Smiley creature by transferring his bloodworms to the monster's body, he left the body outside just to make sure he was really dead. But when he, Christy, Marielle, and Kenny went out at sunrise to check on Smiley's body, the rays of the sun didn't appear to instantly burn him or make him disintegrate. I mean, if these creatures are completely repulsive to daylight, should their bodies not be affected by sudden exposure? Being left out in the light didn't even leave a visible scratch on Smiley, let alone burn him. So how can we be so sure that these creatures aren't at least physically resistant to daylight? Now, to be clear, a dead body surviving sunlight does not prove that a living monster can hunt under the sun, but it does weaken the easy assumption that daylight is automatically fatal to their physical bodies. There is a possible theory that these creatures only come out at night in order to protect something, thus forcing the people of Fromville to venture out or go looking for something in the dark. If you remember, when Miranda was trying to save the Ankugi children by going to the faraway bottle tree, she was found by the Smiley creature, who ran at her and killed her to stop her from going into the tree. Of course, Smiley was trying to stop her from going through the portal in the faraway tree. So does that mean that if she did end up going through the portal at night, Miranda could have reached the actual lighthouse where the curse of Fromville could actually be broken? Now, I know many of you will say that Tabitha also went to the same faraway bottle tree and reached the lighthouse, but she reached the location during the day. Also, when she finally reached the lighthouse, the boy in white mentioned to Tabitha how it was the only way before pushing her out the glass window and sending her back to the real world. What if that was the right place but not the right time? It was almost like he was sending her through to get more answers and not actually giving her a complete escape, because Tabitha eventually ended up back in Fromville again. This theory actually makes sense because in one of Victor's drawings, we see the yellow light from the lighthouse was glowing, and in reality, it was during the night that the yellow light from the lighthouse was on. Maybe night is the only time when the curse of Fromville can be broken and the town's cycle can be stopped, which is why the creatures only come out at night, so they could stop anyone who tries to reach that faraway bottle tree. There's also a possibility that the creatures will use this as the final nail in the coffin, because the townspeople are blissfully unaware of whether the creatures can actually survive in sunlight. It is possible that when everything already seems hopeless, or maybe when they actually start getting close to an escape route, it'll be revealed that these creatures can move around during the day. In a last-ditch effort, the monsters will probably do anything they can to stop their prey from escaping, even if it means interrupting their own sleep to stop the residents from leaving town. We also have seen how, in Season 3, the menace of the creatures plotting and toying with the residents was increasing more than ever as they tried to starve them out. I mean, Boyd being forced to watch Tian Shen's torturous death, or the monsters planning to ambush him into choosing between Randall and 4 of them stuck inside the ambulance on the night of Tabitha's return, were the creature's attempts really to corner him. But this probably came in retaliation to the residents of the town trying to learn more about the mysteries they were stuck in. From the time that Victor and Tabitha went into the tunnels underneath the town, we saw the monsters sleep during the day, which is why they had to move very cautiously. so as to avoid any risk of waking them up. We know through the man in yellow's repeated warnings that Tabitha was never supposed to dig that hole underneath her house or go into the tunnels to see Victor. It is possible that the monsters stay inside those dark tunnels for a reason. It could be possible that exposure to daylight can change their physiology while they're alive. Not just that, I think there are many answers hidden inside those tunnels that only the monsters could provide, which is why the episode 5 synopsis, titled "What a Long Strange Trip It's Been," teasing Boyd and Jade's desperate, mind-bending search for answers, feels so important. Maybe getting that revelation will finally turn the tide in favor of the residents and help them connect some important dots. That explains why Victor thought the monsters hid deeper into the tunnels during the day. It may not simply be because they were sleeping. It could be because they didn't want to be found. My guess is whatever Jade and Boyd discover next will become one of the major keys to their escape. And like I said, it's clear that Fromville does not want its residents to get nosy during the night, which is why the creatures dragged the tent that Boyd and Sarah were in right after they noticed the sound of the lighthouse. On the next morning, they left the tent in an area full of cobwebs where Boyd got bitten by spiders. Because the biggest mission this season seems connected to Ethan finding the Lake of Tears, and because Victor's drawings and the show's spider imagery keep suggesting something dangerous in that direction. I think our main characters may eventually have to leave the town at night in order to go into the forest and reach the Lake of Tears. Now, whether that means a giant spider-like threat, the man in yellow, or something even worse is still theory territory. But the show has already used forests, webs, visions, tunnels, and monsters to keep people from reaching key locations. So I wouldn't be shocked if the path to the Lake of Tears becomes one of the most dangerous journeys in the series. While everyone thinks this lake is the escape route and that residents would have to swim to the other side in order to leave Fromville, I think getting to the Lake of Tears would bring Tabitha and Jade closer to saving the Onkugi children and freeing them. So the curse on the town can be lifted and the ritualistic cycle can be put to an end. Only after that would the townspeople be lucky enough to get the lighthouse and go out the same way that Tabitha did before. Of course, this is all easier said than done, and I'm guessing they'll face many more obstacles on the way. But to me, this seems to be the only way for everyone to escape Fromville. What do you guys think? Let us know your theories and thoughts in the comments below. And as always, stay marvelous.